You're listening to Beyond Wellness Radio, bringing you the cutting edge in health, biohacking, and sports performance. Stay up to date and listen anywhere and anytime on your computer, tablet, or smartphone by subscribing on iTunes. Catch your host, Dr. Justin Marchegiani, as he answers your burning health questions as well as interviews from world-renowned guest experts. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to beyondwellnessradio.com.
Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani. Welcome to Beyond Wellness Radio. Feel free and head over to beyondwellnessradio.com where you can access our full podcast transcriptions. While you're there, you can also sign up for our thyroid and female hormone video series. This series goes into the root cause of why your hormones are out of balance. While you're there, you can also schedule a functional medicine consult with Dr. Justin, myself, where we'll dig deeper into the root cause of your health challenges. Feel free and think of sharing this podcast with at least one person. This podcast grows by people sharing it. Sharing is caring. If you can think of one person that can benefit from this information, please feel free and share it. If you're enjoying the podcast, make sure you subscribe on iTunes. You can also click below the video or podcast where you'll see the iTunes review button and leave us a review. You can also sign up for the newsletter at beyondwellnessradio.com where you'll get updates before anyone else. Thank you so much and enjoy the show. Hey there, it's Dr. Justin Marchegiani. We have my good friend Jimmy Moore, one of the biggest podcasts on the internet here. He's one of the guys that I look to for inspiration and kind of how I MC kind of my podcast, because Jimmy is this person that does it so right. Jimmy, how you doing today?
Hey, what's up, Justin? I love how enthusiastic you get. We all have our radio voice when we come on.
Yes.
You know, we're just talking to each other. Then, hey, guys, we're back here on the Justin Marchegiani Show.
Well, I always loved how you used to exit your podcast. You'd say the person's name. You'd say, his name is Jimmy Moore. And I love that exit. It was just so great.
I still do that, actually.
I love it. I love it. It's so great. I'm going to do it today, too, as a little tribute for you. But
That's
Jimmy, how
cool.
you been?
I've been good, man. Just like I was telling you before we came on the air, it's just busy all the time, and it's the way I like it.
Excellent. I know you had a book that just came out recently on fasting. Let's dig in. How's that going? I know you did that book with Dr. Jason Fung, talking about fasting and how to do it therapeutically. Just kind of any listener here that's trying to get some more information on fasting, why should they get that book?
Well, we wrote the Complete Guide to Fasting, Dr. Fung and I, because when I was looking for a resource on doing some longer fasts, I'd done some intermittent fasts pretty naturally. When you're ketogenic, you know, it's extraordinarily easy to intermittent fast. I mean, if you go longer than or shorter than 8 hours without eating between meals, you're not doing it right. So intermittent fasting was very easy for me. And I was even finding that pushing it to, say, 36-ish hours, which is basically an alternate day fast, also was pretty easy. So I wanted to try to push the envelope a little bit and do these longer fasts. Well, I met Dr. Fung, of all places, in Cape Town, South Africa. He and I shared a stage together at a big low-carb conference that happened there a few years ago. And I went up to him after hearing his talk. I had never heard of him before, and he was talking about fasting. I said, oh, here's somebody that knows something about fasting. And so I said, you know, I'm looking for a good resource on doing some longer fasts. What is out there? And he said, nothing.
All right, so we're back. So last question, we were talking about the fasting book, and you mentioned you did it with Dr. Jason Fung. So talk to me about kind of how that started.
Yeah, so when he and I decided we wanted to collaborate on a book, I decided to start fasting myself. Again, I had been doing some intermittent fasts, but I wanted to push the envelope and see, okay, let's see how I do with a little bit longer fast. Now, context here. I used to think fasting was the stupidest thing in the world. Why would you purposely starve yourself? It just made no sense to me. But that was under the thinking that I was starving myself. Once I realized it's not really starving yourself, you're doing this for a therapeutic reason, that's when fasting started to make a little more sense, especially when it was spontaneously happening on an intermittent level. Really, all you're doing is just extending it a little further than that to give your body the benefits that you're looking for. So I did a goal in September of 2015 to go 21 days in a row of fasting. Now, the longest I'd ever made it was like 6.5 days. And that one, I tell this story in the book, The Complete Guide to Fasting, that I took communion on the 7th day of a fast. And I was planning on going 7 days on that one, and took communion that day at church, got home from church, and you know what happened, Justin. I crashed so hard.
Yeah.
And so my blood sugar got down in the low 50s, which in and of itself isn't a horrible thing when you have higher ketone levels, but I
Right.
wasn't testing blood ketones at that time. And I was definitely in hypoglycemia because I was so hungry and I was just curled up in the fetal position. And my wife's like, please eat something. And I was like, I'm like 4 hours away.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I did end up eating and breaking that fast. But that was kind of my horror story of fasting. So when I came to this one, I said, Jason, will you kind of pay attention to me? I will not take communion this time. God will forgive me. And
So you're
you know,
thinking with
walk
the
over.
communion to create like a reactive hypoglycemic spike. Is that what you're thinking?
It really did, because I
Yeah.
had gone, like I said, over 6 days without eating.
Wow.
And suddenly I introduced this in even a tiny bit. Anybody that's ever had communion, it's just a tiny little wafer and a tiny little cup of juice. And, I mean, very tiny. And just that little bit, Justin, pushed me over the edge into hypoglycemia. Now, that wouldn't happen under normal auspices if I'd just taken that in a fed state. But I was in a
Exactly.
fully fasted state. And my body just wasn't ready for even that little bit of carbohydrate. So anyway, 21 days I
Yep.
attempted in September of 2015. I made it 17 and a half days in a row, which was almost triple what I had done my longest before. So I was pretty happy about that. The only reason it ended was Christine and I were actually on vacation, and I was having a good time, and that was stress. And I found that stress for me as a very insulin resistant man hits me harder probably than most people. And so I couldn't continue with the fast. Now, some people said, well, fasting itself is a stress, and it can be early, but I think the longer you do it, the longer you stay on it, you actually find that it's very sustainable beyond that first 3 days. The first 3 days can be pretty tough, and we talk very openly about that. I definitely tell people day 2 is going to really suck worse than anything you've done. But if you get through day 2, it's nirvana after that.
Awesome. Can you step a half a step to your right? Perfect. Now I got your whole beautiful face in there. Awesome. Love
I'm
it.
trying to balance where I'm at. I'm in my bedroom, so it's like I'm like, where do I stand?
You look perfect right there. So the question I have for you is, what was the big difference between being able to go 30 days versus 7? I know the reactive hypoglycemia thing, but it sounds like you were at 7. 7's still a long way from 30. What was the different things that Dr. Fung was coaching you on that was helping?
Yeah, I never actually made it 30 days. The longest I've done is 28 days in January last year. I did 28 out of the 31 days. So it wasn't 28 in a row, but it was 28 of the 31. Again, travel reared its ugly head and kicked me in the tail. Christine had to make a emergency trip to go see her family in Virginia. So I hop in the car, and what does the stomach start doing? I'm like, great.
Oh,
So
man.
I end the fast, but that's self-awareness. You got to know, you got to fit fasting within your life. And so if life happens, and life happened that day, and then of course we had to drive home from that. When life happens, you just have to deal with it and not fight that. Listen to your body, and I'm sure you preach this pretty often to your listeners. Listen to your body and pay attention and respond accordingly. Don't fight those signals that tell you something's wrong.
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, when you mentioned not eating for 28 days, so what does that look like? Is it just simple as you're just not eating, or are there certain things that you're doing with hydration or
Great question.
minerals? What else is there?
Yeah, so when I first started doing these longer fasts, Justin, I thought, okay, I'm going to need something, because anybody that knows my history, really eating literally all the time, it's kind of funny to think, oh, not eating at all? What? So I decided I'm going to do it with bone broth with some sea salt. So that gives you a little bit of nutrition there, minimal, because I'm only having a cup or two a day, and that's maybe like 80 calories for 2 cups of bone broth. So really minimal nutrition. I also did a little bit of kombucha, but I've since cut that out. I found that it was actually tearing my gut up pretty bad, because I thought that I would need it to preserve gut health during the fast. What I've found is my gut health has actually done extraordinarily well without the kombucha, because of the fasting. And so we can definitely get into that because I know that's kind of your heart and soul too,
Yeah.
talking about gut health. So I did that. And of course, as you mentioned, hydration. I didn't really count how much water I was drinking, but I was drinking quite a bit of water. And the interesting thing is people sometimes say, well, I'll just do water only. I would say do salt water in there as well.
Yes.
Because that helps to balance out the electrolytes. And if you're using something like pink Himalayan sea salt, you're getting those trace minerals of the potassium and the other things that are going to keep your electrolytes in balance. That's a concern a lot of medical professionals have about these longer fasts is, well, where do you get your electrolytes? That's how you can balance that out. And I'm a big fan, and so is Dr. Fung, of kind of adding in that salt from time to time as well.
And I think when you're under stress and you're in a stress response, one of the big things that happens is that hormone aldosterone can go low a bit, and that causes you to pee out a lot of your minerals. So it sounds like adding in the extra minerals, the electrolytes, and also some little bit of amino acids in there really made a difference for you versus the past.
And speaking of elimination,
Yeah.
you want to get down and dirty. Here's
Yeah.
what
Oh, yeah, let's hear
happens.
it.
So you actually do pee quite a bit, and that's natural, especially if you're coming from a non-ketogenic state. You're suddenly flooding your body with ketones by not eating anything, and so when that happens, all the glycogen right out of you. And so what happens? You pee your brains out. And even if you've been ketogenic, you're going to have that as well. I know it's kind of gross, but it's real life, people. So here we go.
That's cool.
But then the
Keep it
thing
real.
that comes out the other end, though, that's the most interesting thing to me, because you think, okay, after a few days, you've not eaten, all that's gone. I've gone really long times without eating, and by day 12, day 15, you're still seeing stuff come out the backside. And it freaked me out because I'm going, what else is in there? It's amazing. We don't realize just how much gunk is still in there, and you can definitely explain maybe why that stuff's still in there that deep into a fast when you're drinking plenty of water every day, you're getting adequate salt, which would ostensibly make things move along pretty good as well. Why would there be stuff still in there 12, 15 days later?
Well, I think some of that too is if you look at the composition of your stool, half of it's going to be bacteria based. So it just could be bacteria that's replicating in the gut that's kind of passing its life cycle. That could be one aspect. It's definitely not the fibers and the food aspect, because that part's not there. But the other half of your stool is going to be the bacteria. So that makes sense. So that's good that you were having regularity there.
Oh yeah, definitely regularity. I would say the normality of the stool was gone by day 5. In other words, it was all kind of soupy after day 5. And from what you just said, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. Now, the big concern that I have with patients, because I have a lot of patients with blood sugar issues and adrenal issues, is that when you cut calories, one of the big things you'll see in the research is just type in hypocaloric diet and low thyroid or low T3 or triiodothyronine, as we see the thyroid kind of down regulate. We see the body temp go down. We see the reverse T3 go up. We see the free and total T3 go down. What did you evaluate your thyroid function during the fast at all?
Here's the most exciting part, I think, about fasting when you're doing it deliberately as a therapeutic resource. And let me give the caveat. I don't think everybody needs to do really long fasts. I think most people probably could get most of the benefits of fasting just from doing like a 16-8 or 18-6 type of fast. If you did that, I think probably most of the population would do well. This is for those people that are the type 2 diabetic, that are the very insulin resistant, that do have a lot of obesity that they want to try to deal with. This is who it's for. Now, you mentioned hypocaloric diets. Here's the thing. Hypocaloric diets can be very detrimental to you. So let's say 500, 600, 700 calorie a day type of diets. That will actually slow your metabolism down. People worry about, I'm going to ruin my metabolism. It's going to slow my basal metabolic rate, all this yada, yada, yada that you hear. And the research definitely bears it out. We've seen it with the Biggest Loser contestants.
Totally.
But here's the thing. When you eat no calories at all, which I'm defining as that bone broth and the kombucha, anything like less than maybe a couple hundred calories, that actually is a far different creature than a hypocaloric state of 500, 600, 700 calories. Fasting actually revs up your metabolism and gives you a lot of health benefits and impacts those hormones in a different way than even eating just a little bit, which blows people's minds. They're thinking, well, if I just eat a little bit, then that's better than not eating at all. No, actually it's a lot better to not eat anything at all, again defined as under 200 calories, than to have even a little bit of calories and your body thinks it's starving and it's going to hold on to everything, whereas fasting releases it all and lets this cascade of really cool hormonal effects start to happen.
Interesting. Now, what about people that have blood sugar issue where they tend to go hypoglycemic? How do you address that when you're going into a fast?
So if there's concerns about that, obviously keep a very close eye on that. And obviously, this should go without saying, let a medical professional follow you while you're going through this. So don't willy-nilly do a fast on your own, especially if you have known issues like hypoglycemia. But what we've seen and what Dr. Fung has seen, he's seen well over 1,000 patients in his intensive dietary management plan in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And he actually has had some hypoglycemic patients come on, and it actually regulates their hypoglycemia. So it doesn't mean that their blood sugar doesn't go down. It does. When you fast, it goes down. But the cool thing is you have a corresponding rise in the blood ketones, which then steps in the place of that so that, yes, you have lower levels of blood sugar, but you're completely asymptomatic of hypoglycemia.
Now, what do you think about adding in synthetic ketones while doing a fast, like the beta hydroxybutyrate, calcium salts? Are you concerned that if you do that while you fast, you may go up into that ketoacidosis rate? What's your experience there?
So I have used it in the early days, and I would say use it for the first maybe 2, maybe 3 days. But Justin, by the time you get to day 3, 4, you're seeing beta hydroxybutyrate levels of 4, 5, 6 very easily without exogenous ketones. So I would say it's probably a good idea in those first couple of days, especially day 2 where it's hell, to take it then for that purpose to kind of get through that period, because you'll feel the effects that you're in the fully fasted state because of the extra ketones. But then once your ketones naturally go up on their own, you can back off and completely eliminate those exogenous ketones. So I think as a beginning part of the fast, absolutely. As you go higher, no. And I don't think ketoacidosis would be a concern because you'd have to get extraordinarily high levels of blood ketones. Yeah, 20 plus millimolar. And I think the highest I've ever seen, and this was without exogenous ketones, was 7.6. Very naturally. Again, it was early on when I started keto and started kind of really doing this. Your body levels out over time. But blood sugar at the same time as that 7.6 was like in the 50s. And so I wasn't worried about it in the context of a lower blood glucose level. And if you're fasting, your blood glucose is going to drop like a rock.
Got it. Okay. And I've seen a lot of people do the therapeutic fasting who have severe insulin resistance. It can be a game changer of turning that insulin resistance around right away and then get them back on, the right type of diet, whether it's a paleo, low carbish, 60 carb, 20 protein, 10 or 20 protein, 10 carb, whatever that macro range for you, you figure it out with your clinician and work on that. But I think that's a great starting point. My issue is with the low calorie. I always see a lot of patients just automatically, they tend to go lower calorie to begin with. And it's hard to see if their fatigue is from a low calorie issue or an adrenal thyroid issue. And the calorie issue can be driving all the above.
It could be both, exactly, where the one is feeding into the other. And I do a Thursday podcast called Keto Talk, and my co-host on that one is a practitioner out of Arizona named Dr. Adam Nally, and he sees 10, 15,000 patients a year. And so he's seen literally everything come through the office, and he says the biggest issue that he sees time and time and time again, especially among women, is they're not eating enough calories when they go keto. And so you got to have adequate calories or it's just a moot point.
Yeah, definitely the fasting is therapeutic because we need nutrition to run our body, and we won't be getting those nutrients in a fasting state, but we will be doing some severe U-turns with our physiology when it comes to insulin resistance for sure.
Absolutely. That's why you do it.
Also, I had a little flashback when you were talking about the constipation thing. I flashed back to one of your podcasts a few years back when you were interviewing, not Ornish, no, McDougall. And he kept on referring to you to Mr. Moore.
How's your constipation?
He
told me.
Kept on saying, how's the constipation, Mr. Moore? How is it? So I kept on having those flashbacks there. That was an excellent interview that I think everyone should partake in. It was just amazing.
It was fun.
Amazing, just you showing your patience and being able to stay calm, and that was unbelievable. You are a saint.
What's funny is behind the scenes, my wife could hear what was going on. She heard it very quickly, took a turn for the worse. And I mean, I had it on mute and she was like, "Don't let him run over you." I'm like, "I got this. I got this."
That was probably one of the best podcasts I've ever seen. It was great. Love it.
You got to have fun in podcasting and sometimes talk to people that you don't agree with and they can hang themselves.
Totally. Well, we'll put that topic behind us. Literally and figuratively. So,
See ya.
I know. Next, what's your experience using MCT oil or other types of ketone precursors to help kind of push yourself into a higher level of ketosis?
Yeah, I think they're great adjuncts. Like we said a moment ago with the exogenous ketones at the beginning of a fast, I think anything that's going to give you even a psychological boost. I know that physiologically you should be getting a boost in your ketones because MCT is a precursor to that. But I think anything that's going to make you feel better about what you're doing and how you're fueling your body and kind of the end goal of feeling better and getting healthier is a good thing. So just be careful if you do add any of these products like MCT oil specifically. I remember first time I was gung-ho, I was 2 big tablespoons full of this stuff. And 2 hours later, I can't get off the pot.
Love it.
So you got to, it's buyer beware at that point and be prudent about it. I mean, obviously listen to podcasts like these is going to help you, and read up before you kind of jump full-fledged. I think sometimes a little bit of knowledge is dangerous, Justin, because people think, oh, well, I can do this on my own, and you probably should not do it on your own.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Now, you mentioned that certain people, the fasting may not be the best thing for, especially when there's a lot of active stress. And is that because of the stress hormones affecting blood sugar and insulin levels?
Blood sugar and just how you feel in general. I think all of those things, it's just not a good idea. I mean, obviously, if you're malnourished and underweight, you shouldn't be fasting either because you're going to lose weight. If you're pregnant, obviously, you should not be fasting because you're basically trying to build a little one inside you. And you're needing to, feed you and that baby. I think if someone comes from an eating disorder like anorexia or bulimia, get that under control first. And children, if you're under age and you're still developing and growing, probably not a good idea to fast unless the only caveat I'd give to the children is unless they're very severely obese and diabetic, and this is something that could be therapeutic for them. But again, in general, children probably should not be fasting.
Got it. And would you say if you also have like an active thyroid or adrenal issue, would you say get that under control before trying that?
Yeah, you definitely want to get those things under control. It might help those things. It might. But I think getting those under control through nutrition first, and then as an adjunct in the process of your healing, adding in a few times of fasting just to see how you do. It's definitely, there's no downside to trying it a time or two just to see how it impacts you. And that's the theme song we say again and again with what I like to refer to as the other F word with fasting is you just got to try it. And if it works for you, great. If it doesn't work for you, great. Move on back to your paleo diet, your ketogenic diet, and be happy with where you are.
Love it. And I spoke at your 2015 low carb cruise, and one of the things I talked about was thyroid function and insulin resistance. So if you are insulin resistant, that can definitely affect thyroid function, and fasting may be a good short-term modality to help get that insulin resistance, which would thus help with thyroid T4 to T3 conversion too.
And see, it's all related. People like to say, well, I have heart disease, I have diabetes, I have cancer. Guess what, guys? They're all metabolic diseases. They're all cut from the same cloth. And thyroid disease, the same thing. They're all cut from the exact same cloth. And knowing that gives you so much more knowledge and power than probably most medical professionals.
Totally. 100% agree with that. So looking at some of the supplements that you're using, I know you've come up with your own line with Dr. Adam Nally there on your keto podcast. Let's talk about some of the core, like the big three, so to speak. What are those? And then where do you stand on synthetic ketones too?
So big three in terms of what the big supplements are?
Exactly. What are those big three supplements?
The big three. I was like, what big three? So we have two products in the line currently. One is a multivitamin that's very specifically targeted to people on a ketogenic diet. We call it Keto Essentials, and we literally load that bad boy up with all kind of stuff. And so in 6 pills, you get like all the vitamin D that most people would need. I believe we have 2,000 IU of the vitamin D in there. We have biotin. We have just a lot of things, K2, that you don't usually see in a lot of multivitamins. You definitely can't find this formulation in like Vitamin Shop or anything like that. So we worked hard, and this is one that Dr. Nally actually uses specifically with his patients that he puts on a ketogenic diet, which is like 99% of the people that come through his door, he puts on a ketogenic diet. And then the other one is blood sugar tends to be an issue a lot of people deal with. And so Berberine Plus is the name of the product that we came out with there. And it's berberine, banaba leaf, and chromium, all known to help lower and modulate your blood sugar levels. And the cool thing about that one is when you lower blood sugar, guess what also happens? You raise, in the context of a low carb, high fat diet, you raise ketone levels. And so it helps you get into ketosis. I would think that fish oil probably is a third one that's really essential. We're kind of looking into what we can do from an omega-3 standpoint, but I think getting that right balance of omega-3s is so essential. I personally just love cod liver oil.
Love it.
And use it pretty often, and definitely a high quality pharmaceutical grade. Don't buy the ones that are in Walgreens or whatever, no offense, but
Absolutely.
they're rancid, they're nasty.
Yep.
And when you fishy burp, that's a really bad sign that you got a bad one. So
Totally.
And then you asked about exogenous ketones. I'm still kind of feeling that out, because there's a lot of companies out there really trying to get on this bandwagon with exogenous ketones. I think I was telling you before I came on the air, I don't like the way some of them are being marketed.
Yeah.
Get into ketosis within 45 minutes or less. I'm like, no, you don't. You get ketones in your blood system, but you're not in ketosis. You're not keto adapted. And then some of the other marketing is like, well, eat all the carbs you want. Just take exogenous ketones and you're in ketosis. I'm like, no, there's some dangerous implications there where you're raising your blood sugar with these carbs you're eating, and then suddenly you're raising blood ketone levels. That would be a concern for ketoacidosis at some point if you go overboard. So I'm very leery about this, Justin, and very open about it. I do think exogenous ketones have a role in the keto community, where people that are struggling, maybe just starting off, and they want to kind of feel some of the effects of having ketones in their blood system, this will do that for them. And again, a psychological effect of, oh, well, I already have ketones in my system. Now it motivates me to go do it endogenously while I'm doing it exogenously. I think that can be a good use for them. But just these people that are pushing it and eat your carbs and have ketones at the same time, no. Don't do that. No, don't do that anymore.
I totally agree. I see a lot of these companies, they do that, and they don't really emphasize the dietary aspect of push your physiology into nutritional ketosis by making the right diet and lifestyle changes. They're just like, hey, let's forget that. Let's just take this magic pill and let's get into ketosis. But we're saying maybe do both. If you do some of that and then you make the diet changes, then you can have a really beneficial effect.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think a lot of these companies are just in it for the buck and for the trend. And, keto is very, very hot right now. I wrote Keto Clarity 3 years ago, and it's still under 1,000 on Amazon. It just blows my mind how long that book has just lasted, but it's because so many people are truly interested. And I don't want anybody to get confused that exogenous ketones is anything close to being exactly the same as endogenous, doing it through a low carb, moderate protein, high fat diet.
Got it. And what's your take using endogenous ketones for like neurological disorders, whether it's epilepsy or whether it's Parkinson's or neurological conditions? What's your experience with that?
Did you say endogenous or exogenous?
I'm sorry, I would be talking about exogenous, so extra ketones. Well, so
because I heard you say endogenous, I was like, wait a minute, eat low carb and it'll happen.
So endogenous is what's happening internally, inside. That's the low carb, high fat, moderate protein diet. And then exogenous, what we're putting into our body. So what's your take with that with some of those neurological conditions?
Oh my goodness. I think these are the people that was made for. In fact, I other than like the Navy SEALs, which I know Dominique D'Agostino has been kind of leading the way of creating these things for the Navy SEALs to kind of help, enhance their mental performance while they're out there. And plus they do a lot of fasting as well. So they get a lot of the endogenous ketones that way. So yeah, absolutely. These are the very people that I think they're trying to reach this really cool ratio of glucose to ketone. And if they're doing it endogenously and working voraciously, even more so than just someone just trying to heal insulin resistance, they're going upwards 85, 90% fat, and then the rest is protein carb. They're doing really hardcore trying to get those ketone levels up for a therapeutic purpose. So don't misunderstand me and say, oh, I'm going to go eat 90% fat. Jimmy Moore said it was okay. No, I didn't. For the purposes of Parkinson's and some of the things that you mentioned, I think it, along with exogenous ketones, can be very, very therapeutic for those people. Because quite frankly, the brain, you're a fathead, by the way, Justin.
Yeah.
And so am I.
Yep.
We all are. We're all like, we have, was it 70% fat in our brains? And there are some glucose functions in the brain, but your body makes all the glucose you need endogenously. So you don't have to eat, extra glucose in order to get it into the brain. So the brain's going to be fine. The brain's actually going to be more than fine. It's going to be optimal when you start eating low carb, moderate protein, high fat, and then adding in these exogenous ketones. The brain just goes wild when you're in a ketogenic state.
Totally. And you talked about brain here just 1 second ago. Now we are 70%, fat in the brain. Tom Knott in his video Fathead a few years back was just absolutely great, really emphasizing that. But in our brain, right, we look at some of the enzymes that are active in our brain. There's one enzyme called insulin degrading enzyme, and that enzyme's really unique because that enzyme's also the enzyme that mops up insulin and also mops up plaque. So imagine someone spills a whole bunch of insulin on your floor, right? And that mop comes in and mops up that insulin, but there's some plaque on the other side of the floor, but because the mop's so saturated, it can't mop up the plaque. So in other words, that mop can only mop up so much gunk in the brain. The more insulin that's there from the excess sugar and carbs, you'll have less of that mop's utilization for the plaque. And that's part of the mechanism of Alzheimer's and some of these dementia brain conditions.
All right, I want to see an illustration of that on your website now. So the mop that's dripping with insulin can't get the plaque.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to do a chalk talk here later this week. You got it.
Cool.
It'll be dedicated to you, Jimmy.
There you go.
So we talked about the insulin piece. That's important. What's been your experience with fasting or using 200, 500 calorie diets? And I know you said below 200. I've had some experience using HCG, some of the HCG protocols, the human chorionic gonadotropin, and using that to basically tap into your body's secure fat sources and kind of having this apostat, the appetite center of the brain kind of re-regulating that. What's been your experience with that, if you have any?
Can I be honest about HCG? I'm extraordinarily skeptical. I know it's helped a lot of people. I actually know a lot of patients that have gone through that. I have not personally done that. And I think the thing that scares me the most about it, and maybe you can acquiesce to my fear, is the very, very low calorie. I think I find more benefit from being under the 200 than being at 500 with HCG. And it could just be my naivete and not knowing enough about it. But I'm just extraordinarily concerned anybody that goes through that, because once you go through the round of HCG and you go back to eating somewhat normally again, maybe a ketogenic diet, I haven't really seen anybody continue to sustain the benefits from that. So that would be my only caveat concern about this.
Yeah, I've done it with a couple dozen patients. I've done it myself personally. My wife's done it a few times as well. And it's worked profoundly if you do it right. Couple of caveats. There's a lot of homeopathics out there, homeopathic drops. Don't recommend that. If you do an HCG, you should do it via
the injection.
You should do the injection. And again, the easy way to do it is you should know, because if you get a pregnancy test, you should test positive. It's a great way to freak out your husband, by the way. Okay.
Test positive. Will a guy test positive for pregnancy as well?
I think they will, because that's still going to spill out. Some of it will spill out in the urine.
Okay. I so want to do that to freak out Christine.
But I tried it with the sublingual and I tried it with the homeopathic. You will not get a positive pregnancy test. And again, my wife's tried it, not me. I've done the injection, but haven't tried it yet. But I've seen it work phenomenal. It took her about 1 year to gain the weight back. And she felt great going. Again, it was that first 5 days was tough, but you were able to keep it off. And again, the key is, what do you go back to? Do you go back to a really good diet? She's kind of paleo, low carb. That's where she lives. But again, the key is not going back to a crappy diet. But the science behind that is the HCG is tricking the body. And this makes sense more with the female physiology, not so much the male, is you're tricking the body that you are pregnant and your body is tapping into secure fat stores, because it's trying to pull calories out so the baby can be nourished and fed. So the whole idea is you're tapping into those secure fat stores, the stores you normally wouldn't tap into if that hormonal level wasn't there. And there's been a study, A.T. Simeons was the British endocrinologist that came up with this in the 60s.
Right.
There's a study in the Lancet where he had two groups, one without the HCG, low-calorie diet, one with the HCG, and the group with the HCG lost more calories and also kept it off longer as well. So just kind of, that's been my experience, and pretty good.
Yeah, I've interviewed a few people about HCG on the Living La Vida Low Carb show over the years. So I'm curious, the 500 calories is key. You've got to keep it down. So basically, you don't overfeed your body because you're tapping into the body fat stores to make up for the rest of the calories that you need. Is that the theory?
Yes and no. I've modified it over the years where I still boost the calories up a little bit more, up to 1,000. I played around with that because you can still get similar results. And also adding in, they recommend no fats, but the only exception has been for me is MCT oil, and I find that it boosts up the ketones more and helps with the appetite.
I would be willing to try 1,000 calorie one with the HCG injections. That sounds a little more prudent. I think the 500 was what just freaked me out every time I saw about it.
I've had so many good experiences with it with people that already have healthy diets, healthy everything.
Yeah.
That's like my go-to with patients that are like at their wits' end with their diet. Everything else is right. Exercise, lifestyle, supplements, gut. That's kind of my last go-to. So I'd be curious to see your take on that.
Yeah, maybe we'll give it a go.
I love it. Very cool. So we talked about the ketones. We talked about some of the supplements, which I think are really good. Now, we talk about, you've talked about it before in Keto Clarity, kind of looking at your lipid panel. Can we talk more about lipids? When someone's reading their lipid panel, is there a cutoff for you if your cholesterol is so high that they should worry at all? What does that look like for you?
You talking about total cholesterol? Is that what you're referring to?
Total cholesterol, correct.
Yeah. So I was just talking to this lady that was filling in at the mail place. I take books every day to the mail, and this lady was there, and I don't know how it came up, but her total cholesterol, she just shared it with me. I guess she knew what I did for a living, and she's like, yeah, I have 620 total cholesterol. And I'm like, okay, that's high. I'm not real worried about total cholesterol in general, but that's really, really high. And so I said, so usually when your blood lipids are that high, do you have, something else going on? Do you have like maybe infections in your teeth or something? She's like, oh yeah. And she pulls out the bottom of her teeth, and she had 6 all pulled out that probably had infections in there from root canals that she's had done. And this was the bad part. This was the part that just broke my heart, Justin. She just spent over $10,000 mercury amalgams galore. All in her teeth. And I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that's why your blood cholesterol has gone up so extraordinarily high. So I think in the context of knowing why it's high, it does matter. But it's not the high number. I told her, I said, you should be very thankful that you have that very high cholesterol, because that's the only thing that's saving you from dying right now because of the inflammation. And so it kind of startled her, because she's like, I just spent all this money. I'm like, I know, but total cholesterol can be an interesting marker if it starts to go up, because it should clue you in something is going on somewhere in the body. And it's usually an inflammatory response somewhere. And teeth is a big one for a lot of people. I actually had 4 root canals done when I was in my early 20s, mercury amalgams, and 2013, I actually wrote a book, Cholesterol Clarity, and in preparation for that book, I thought, well, I learned that infections in your teeth can be a big player in your total cholesterol. So I went and got them all cleaned up. I went to a holistic dentist down the road from here. He took all the mercury amalgams out and put good stuff in there. And he cleaned up all of the root canals and the infections that had taken place. I could literally taste the infection. That's how bad it was. And so he cleaned all that up. And Justin, in 1 year, my total cholesterol dropped 100 points just from doing that. No other changes, just from doing that. And so it can be a kind of your first telltale sign something serious might be going on. So that's the only weight that I really give total cholesterol. I think looking at triglyceride to HDL ratio gives you a whole lot better indication of, any maybe necessarily cardiovascular issues, an HSCRP to kind of see like the inflammatory response. There's a lot of inflammatory numbers I know that you run in your office. And so I think cholesterol helps to a degree, but not to the degree that most mainstream medical professionals think it does.
I think you're 100% right. Anytime I see over mid 300 cholesterol, the first thing I always go to rule out is make sure there's not a hypercholesterolemia issue where there's a genetic issue.
And I had that tested, by the way. I have a 5% chance that I have familial hypercholesterolemia, which is no, I don't. So
Right.
That was the first thing I checked, and then it led me to, hey, maybe there's something. Oh yeah, I had all these root canals and I had the mercury, and that was the thing. And now my blood cholesterol is still pretty high. It's in the 200s, but that's not abnormal.
No, that's not an issue
and we
at all.
can talk about the context of a ketogenic diet. That's not abnormal.
Yeah, I don't worry until it's in the mid 300s. But
Yeah.
even that, where's the HDL? Where's your HDL at?
Yes.
Curious.
So yeah, HDL 75.
That's beautiful. So your ratio right there is still under 4. That's still beautiful. And at 3.5, you're half the
Triggs
risk
at
factor.
60. So yeah, exactly.
That's less than 1. That's beautiful. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. But if there is an issue, we'll run the LDR receptor, the PCKS9 test, look at the genetic markers there, and if those aren't there, we're doing all the things that you mentioned, and also looking at thyroid function, because low thyroid function can cause cholesterol to creep up.
Yeah. Do you run an NMR at all?
Yeah, I do run an NMR. I was using the VAP before, but then Atherotech got shut down, so I've been doing more of the NMR to look at the LDL
NMR
number.
is like the only game in town now. HDL Labs is gone now, and VAP is gone.
How about the Cardio IQ? Is that still there?
Yeah, it is. But I think NMR has a little more prominence.
Yes.
It's got legs because they're like the only game in the subfraction game, so to speak, that I think more and more doctors are accepting that one. Although I will tell you, my own medical doctor just down the road from here in South Carolina, he stopped running them. And I'm going, can I please have an NMR run? Because I want to keep an eye on small dense LDL particles. Well, you're going to have to pay for it out of pocket. So insurance won't even pay for it anymore. They don't have a code for it anymore at my local doctor's office. So, I run it on my own anyway. I can do a NMR for about $150 and done. And that way I know where I am.
Yeah, that's so smart. And again, I'm imagining the main reason why they're not running it is because there's no modality that they can do to change it.
Well, they don't know what to do with it. That mainstream medicine, they even run the standard lipid panel and they don't know what to do with it. So that's we're getting deep into an issue with the mainstream medical system. They run so many numbers that they just don't know what to do with it. Oh, okay, you're normal. And it's like normal of what? Sick people?
Yeah, exactly. And then also the fact that also when you're looking at those tests, typically the prescription's going to be a statin, and the statin won't touch particle size. It won't touch LDL number per se.
Right. Well, kudos to this postal lady, because she said they tried putting me on this medicine. I told them I ain't taking that ever. I was like, you go, girl. So she was really good. Now, I do have a fasting story regarding cholesterol. When I did that September 2015 fast, 17 and a half days, I tested all of my blood markers, cholesterol before, and then did it after. Do you know in that 17 and a half days, my total cholesterol dropped 100 points? And my LDL-P, which was on that NMR lipoprofile test, it dropped 1,000 points. Whoa. And small LDL-P was pretty low already, but it even dropped another 100 or so points. Triglycerides obviously went down as well. HDL slightly went down, which you're not eating food. That makes sense since dietary fat tends to help your HDL go up. I wasn't eating anything. So really interesting markers. And then a really advanced lipid marker, lipoprotein little a, actually was in the 400s. I've always had really high lipoprotein little a, like 423, and it dropped down to like 130 in 17 and a half days. Wow. Nothing moves that. No drug moves your numbers that quickly. So I was pretty impressed by the therapeutic fasting, just that little bit of fasting, how profound it moved those cholesterol numbers.
What if you were someone that was going to their conventional physician? Could just fasting for a day or two move the needle in the right direction so you'd be out of that danger zone?
I didn't test after a couple of days. This would be a fun test to do. Yeah. like do daily NMRs or whatever.
Yeah.
And just see when that dramatic shift takes place. I don't think it would in that very short amount of time.
Right.
I know some people, they try to get like good health insurance or life insurance policies based on the cholesterol numbers.
Yeah.
I never get those preferred rates because I can't get my numbers down that good. Although you could do it with a 10-day fast to try to get those numbers down, get the good rate, and then go back to eating, go back up again. But yeah, it's I haven't tried that, but that would, if I could if I can sell a few more books, maybe I'll do that daily NMR just to kind of keep an eye on what's exactly happening.
That's great. Well, we're kind of doing the circle run here. We hit the fasting book, fasting clarity. We hit the keto clarity. We hit the cholesterol clarity. Are there any other key topics within those 3 books that you have out now that you want to hit on that you just feel is really important to address?
Yeah, I mean, we've hit all the key points with that. I'm obviously still writing books and still continuing to try to get information out there. The next book that I'm working on is kind of a sequel to Keto Clarity, because all these people read that. It was meant to be an entry-level book. I get some weird reviews on Amazon.com sometimes for Keto Clarity, and they're like, it's too simple. I'm like, yeah, that was the point, dude. I wanted it to be entry level because keto can be a little complex. You start talking about gluconeogenesis and ketoacidosis. Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Oh, you remember that. And so I wanted to go a little bit deeper. And so Dr. Nally, my Keto Talk co-host, and I are actually working on a book called The Keto Cure, which will take all the major disease states that a ketogenic diet helps with and show you the metabolic pathway of why it works, supplements you can take that would correspond with the ketogenic diet, and as a very last resort, any medications that might be an adjunct for that particular condition. So we're real excited to get that book out in September. Like I said, kind of a long-awaited sequel to Keto Clarity. And then another piece that's not being talked about a lot, Justin, is the whole mindset, the whole getting your brain in the right and loving yourself in the process, I guess is what I'm trying to say. A lot of people, they give you here's the how-to, here's the practical. And some people say, I just hate how I look. I just don't know, they don't love themselves. And so I'm teaming up with a registered holistic nutritionist named Meg Dahl. Was Meg on the cruise the year you came?
She may have been. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. So anyway, she and I are collaborating on a book called Keto Freedom coming out in December. And then I just signed the contract as of the recording of this, like today, for my next book after that called Weight Loss White Lies. There's so many shysters in the weight loss industry, and I'm so sick and tired of seeing them on television and in print magazines, and people believe the garbage that's put out there about what they need to do to lose weight. And so Weight Loss White Lies is going to come in 2018, and I've already asked my publisher, can I please just rail against everybody? So they're going to let me do that, and real excited to get that out there, and constantly working on new projects, trying to help other people, keep doing my podcasts. I do 5 podcasts a week now between the 3 shows, so stays busy.
That's great. You were the major podcast guy over the last 10 years. Now you're into the whole authorship field. You're doing great. Any of those books hit New York Times bestseller?
Keto Clarity came so close. Oh. It was 22 the week it would have hit, and some of the behind the scenes games people may not know about. There's publishers that actually pay their way to get on the list, and so 2 publishers paid their way to get on the list the week I would have hit. And so I missed it by 2 on that one. The Ketogenic Cookbook hit 21.
Oh, one away.
But Ketogenic Cookbook did hit international bestseller status, as did the book after that one was The Complete Guide to Fasting that came out in October. We originally called it Fasting Clarity, but then we got into writing it and, we need to change the title because he didn't want to necessarily stick with the same format as the Clarity books. And so Complete Guide to Fasting also, it sold out in 6 hours on Amazon.
Wow, unreal. Well, let's
the day it came out.
Everyone listening, let's help Jimmy get to number 1 here on this next book.
Well, thank you. And yeah, we're real excited about the Keto Cure. And yeah, we're going to keep doing our thing, man, getting the message out. I think we're all passionate. All of us in this community are passionate just about educating people and helping them change their lives.
Well, we'll put the links below to all the Amazon links to the book so people can easily access that. Awesome. And then if you want to get in touch with Jimmy, livinlavitalow-carb.com, Live in La Vida Low Carb podcast, and as well as the Keto Talks, right, with Adam McNally?
Adam Nally and I do. Yeah. He's been called McNally. He's been called worse. So that's just from Jimmy Moore. But Keto Talk with Jimmy Moore on the doc on Thursdays. And then I have a brand new podcast that I started with Dr. Fung in January called Fasting Talk. So that's also out there as well, fastingtalk.com.
Love it, man. Excellent. And last question I ask all my guests here is, if you're stuck on a desert island and you could only bring one supplement with you, what would it be, Jimmy?
Well, I wouldn't need vitamin D if I'm on a desert island. So
wouldn't need that.
One supplement, I would bring MCT oil.
I knew you were going to say that. I had to bet with myself ahead of time.
Or coconut oil, either one.
Something to increase ketones naturally.
Or to be fuel, because you're probably going to have to fast quite a bit. So if I'm fasting, I want some fat in my body.
Totally makes sense. And you'd be a pro at that. I mean, 28 days, man. If it was me and you on a desert island, I think you may have me beat, man.
Well, I've got a little more meat on my body as well. I would survive a little longer.
I hear you. Awesome, Jimmy. Oh, hold on. I'm going to do it. His name is Jimmy Moore. Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate everything.
His name is Jimmy Moore. Thanks so much for joining us here today on the Justin Marchegiani Show.
I love it. And again, thank you for being an inspiration on the podcast side. Listen to your shows for a lot of inspiration and just kind of how to captivate the crowd and just be a really good host and kind of like prod for those good questions and that good interactive feedback. So I appreciate that, Jimmy.
I think the spontaneity helps. And when you're good friends with the person you're interviewing, that also helps a lot. And yeah, behind the scenes, I try to mentor a lot of podcasters. People don't realize that, but I'm talking to a lot of these people that are coming on new, and I'm happy to do that. I've done this a very long time, and I love every minute of it.
Love it, Jimmy. We'll get you back on as soon as that book comes out.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks so much, Jimmy. Take care.
Got a question for Dr. J? Go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com and click the questions button. Then tune in to hear the answer. Also, if you like the show, click below to review us on iTunes. For more Beyond Wellness Radio, go to BeyondWellnessRadio.com.